Hi, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Fatherless Sons. My name is Wiley, and I am your host, and this is episode 118. On today's episode, Building Your Empire, I will be talking about why Tesla won't fail. Under Couch Time, I'll be talking about why some people don't succeed and won't succeed. And stick around towards the last segment of Fatherless and Famous. I have a little twist for today's episode, so be sure to stick around for that. So let's go right into building your empire and why I think Tesla won't fail. I'll start this conversation by saying this is not financial advice. Do your own research and invest at your own risk. And I am a Tesla stock shareholder, so just kind of know that going in. Obviously, I'm going to be biased when it comes to my opinion on the stock and on the company. I've done a lot of research on the company, though. And there's going to be a lot of people that's going to have strong opinions about Elon Musk and why they think Tesla will fail because of his personality and why they won't invest in it. For me, it's all about making money, and it's all about investing in companies that's going to change the world. Whether you want to admit it or not, Tesla is going to change the world. They're already changing the world. I mean, every time I use my Tesla, I have a 2026 Model S hardware 4. And every time I use my Tesla at the supermarket to summon the car to come to me, and I'm standing in front and people see the car drive up with no one in it, they're freaking out. They're just like, wow, I can't believe this car is driving by itself. In places like Los Angeles, you have Teslas all over the place. So some people might be a little more used to it, but some people are still surprised to see a car driving by itself. If you don't call that change in the world, then I don't know what is. Think about iPhones and how iPhones changed the world. Think about the internet and how that changed the world. Well, Tesla is the same thing with AI. It's going to change the world. And you have a choice. Get with the change or get left behind. It's really that simple. You can fight it and say, I don't like it. And I like my gas car. I hate electric cars. I hate Elon. You can say all of those things. And you'll be on the sidelines being left behind. Or you can make a choice to say, I'm going to get into this game right now and I'm going to take advantage of what's going on so that I can win. I can be on the side of the winners because you have to pick. You're either going to be a winner in this game or a loser. Number one is all about cost. Whenever you can chop down the price of ownership all the way down the way Tesla has because of low cost for fueling your vehicle and low maintenance costs, that's going to make people adopt the new technology a whole lot faster because it's saving them money. It's saving them money. The Tesla is rolling out a service like a Uber service called Robotaxi. And when they scale and they're able to put these electric cars out there driving themselves and you can take this vehicle for half the price that you spend on an Uber, what are you going to do? You're going to say, nah, I don't want to do it because I don't like Elon, or I don't like electric cars. I don't like the future. I don't trust it. You can say all of those things, but I guarantee you, people are going to start using the technology. They're going to take advantage of the savings and they're going to fall in love with it. And it's going to become normal. Just like Elon always says, the elevator operator used to operate the elevator and pull the lever to take it from one floor to the next back in the old days. And now you get in the elevator and you push a button and it takes you to the floor by itself. And you trust that the elevator is not going to miss your floor, that it's not going to chop your head off while you're getting off the elevator because it's lose control and go through another floor while you're getting off. Those things don't even come into your mind. This is going to become so normal, cars driving by themselves, it won't come into your mind, the car hitting something or having an accident. I'm using the technology in my car every single day, and it works. So the money you're going to save on fuel, the money you're going to save on maintenance, that's the first reason why people will adopt Teslas, even those who don't like it. And this is the first reason why Tesla will not fail. The second reason is because of the autonomous system that Tesla uses. That system is really good. Like I said, I use the self-driving every single day. And this is going to be rolled out nationwide in these cybercabs when these Tesla cars are driving by themselves. Now, you also will see Waymos driving by themselves in Los Angeles and San Francisco, et cetera. But they use a different technology. Tesla is using vision only, whereas Waymo is using LiDAR and different radar systems to detect where the car is going. Tesla is using strictly AI, what's called a neural net, so that the car can think what it needs to do and figure things out. That's Tesla's approach. And because they're going to be able to charge people half the price of a Waymo and half the price of an Uber, people who are against, using the technology today will eventually wake up and say, you know what, I'll give it a shot. Everyone else is using it and they trust it. It must be okay. They must have already worked out all the kinks. So I'll go ahead and try it out. I guarantee you that that's how this is going to play out. So the opportunity now to get in before it plays out should be taken advantage of if you're trying to build your empire. The third thing that is going to make Tesla not fail is safety. In 2025, over 37,800 people died in auto accidents. That's a lot of people dying senselessly, and it doesn't really make sense because this is something that can be avoided. Now, the reason I say it can be avoided is because all of the technology that's being applied on cars now, this self-driving technology that's being applied, is already saving lives. In 2025, there was a 12% drop in fatalities from automobiles because of, I would say is mainly because of this technology. Cars are just becoming smarter and they're becoming safer, reducing the number of accidents from auto braking systems because people are distracted. They're on their cell phones, they're eating, they're putting on makeup, and before you know it, boom, they run right into the back of someone's car. But with the technology improving with the automatic braking system, even if they're not paying attention, a lot of times the car will stop before they have that impact. So the cars are just simply becoming safer. Another thing when it comes to safety is national security safety. If you've been hiding under a rock and you don't know this, there's an AI race going on right now. And it's going on from one country to the next, US versus China. And there's also companies inside of each country battling. Inside the US, you have Meta battling with XAI, battling with Microsoft, battling with Google, and Amazon with Zoox. They're all fighting to come up with AGI, artificial general intelligence, where you have a super smart AI system smarter than humans. Just imagine if one of our adversaries come up with AI or they succeed with AI before we do. It becomes a situation that is that puts the country at risk. So we have to figure this out, just, for the survival of our country. And that mentality is being followed by China and other countries as well. They feel the same way. They have to figure this out so that they're not vulnerable to other countries that may want to take advantage of them. So we're all thinking the same thing. The last reason I'll say why Tesla will not fail is because of how efficient the car makes you as an owner or as a passenger. If you own your own Tesla and we move from the system we're on right now, which is called supervised, full self-driving supervised. Once we move to unsupervised, that means you can take your eyes off the road and not pay attention. And once we get to that point, you'll be able to do work while you're traveling on your way to work. If you got an hour to drive to work like I do, then you're in your car doing work while you're driving. Let's say you have a flight that you need to take that's only a couple hours in the air. But if you were to drive, it'd be around 3.5 hours to drive. You might say, you know what? I'll drive the 3.5 hours because if you go to the airport, to be in the air for 2 hours or an hour and a half, you still have to be at the airport an hour early. And then when you get off the plane, you have to, find ground transportation and all that. You'll save more time by actually letting your car drive you 3.5 hours straight to your destination. So you'll become way more efficient that way. Now, let's say you don't own your own car. And let's say you're using a robotaxi or even a Waymo. You get into this self-driving car, you're kind of laid out by yourself. You don't have a person driving, distracting you, and you can be in the backseat doing work. Now, with Waymo, it'll be hard to, stay in the car for 30 minutes or an hour because it's going to cost a lot of money. But just imagine if the cost was cut in half. Then you can see it as a viable option. If the cost is cut in half or even a fraction, maybe it's a third of what the cost is going to be. That makes it affordable where you can sit in a car, do work while you're driving an hour away inside of a taxi that is driving itself with no other person in the car. It becomes way more efficient by using the car this way, okay? So that will conclude what I wanted to really put out there when it came to my feelings on Tesla. I believe everyone should grab some shares right now. I think it's trading at around $400 right now. I started investing in Tesla back in 2024. The first shares that I bought were $176 per share back then. Even now, with the share price at $400, I still purchase shares of stock of Tesla today. It's just a company that I really see is going to skyrocket in the future. So take a look at it, see if it's the right thing for you. Once again, this is not financial advice. You make up your own damn mind and decide if you want to purchase the company or not. I believe it's a good thing to look into and purchase if you can afford to do so. Okay, so let's go right into our next segment, which is couch time. Couch time, I like to get personal and I like to talk about things that kind of, steer you, whether it's financial related or not, steer you in the right direction for your life. And today's topic I want to talk about is why some people simply won't succeed. I won't really say it's their fault, and it's not because they're not trying, because sometimes they are trying. It's really about the mindset. If you have a mindset of following versus leading, then you'll always follow and expect someone to help you or expect someone to show you the way. And when you don't get those answers, then you blame the government or you blame your parents or you blame your spouse or you blame your kids, your neighbor. You blame the immigrants that are coming into the country, legally or illegally. You blame everyone other than yourself. And this is just a trait of being a follower and not a leader, because leaders make their own route. They make their own way. So the people who are not succeeding, as long as you have that same mentality of looking for someone to show you the way and you're expecting to follow someone there, then you're going to continue to lose and you're going to continue to fail, because when that doesn't happen, you just throw your hands up and say, why I'm not getting ahead? Oh, it's because of him, her, them, they. That's why I'm not getting ahead. Now, it's really not your fault that you're a follower if you are a follower. And the reason I say it's not really your fault is because you may not recognize that you were trained to be a follower by the school system, by the country, by the media, by what you see on TV, by what you hear on the radio and what you consume. From first grade on up, you're kind of being taught to be a follower, to be obedient, to fit into the system as a cog. That's what you're being trained and taught. Okay. From first grade on up, you're being taught to be an employee, to be a mindless machine that just kind of walks forward and does what they're programmed to do. I like to call these people NPCs, and gamers understand what NPCs are. They're non-player characters. Those are the characters that in Grand Theft Auto that's kind of just walking around doing nothing. They're kind of dodos. And you have all different, variety of NPCs. You have the bus driver, you have the school teacher, the cop. It really doesn't matter what your profession is. There's a lot of NPCs walking around right now. And people that I mentor, I explain this to them. I say, look, you have a choice. You can be a follower or you can be a leader. You can be a person who makes the rules, or you can be simply a person who follows the rules. And there's nothing wrong with people who choose to follow the rules. If that's what you want to do and that's who you want to be, fine. Be that, do that, no problem. But don't complain. Don't complain that you're not getting ahead and not getting what you want. Don't do that. You're following. If you really want to change in your situation, understand that you have to change your mindset. First of all, recognize if you're an NPC, if you're a person who follows all the rules only and expect someone to lead you there by following their advice and telling you what you should do. You have to be careful who you listen to, by the way, because some people, they'll tell you to do what it takes to stay a cog in the machine. They won't tell you what you need to do to break away out of the system. They won't tell you that. Okay. So be careful, which advice you take. But you have to decide, do I want to be the person that just follows the program, or do I want to be a leader that writes the rules and sets the path? Don't just follow the program. Don't just be an NPC. Be someone that's in control of your life. Be a leader. Be a rule writer and write your own financial path. Write how you want life to be, and then live your life according to that, not to someone else's rules and ideals. All right, so let's go to Fatherless and Famous, our final segment of today. And Fatherless and Famous, I promise, would be a twist. It is a twist because today's person that I want to recognize is LaShawn Wiley. Now, I'm not picking myself just to be self-serving. I really wanted to choose myself because I wanted to highlight my mother. Her birthday just passed March 10th. And this is, I think, an appropriate time to remember her and recognize the battle that she went through, raising her 4 kids. Mary Wilson, my mother, had it tough when she was growing up, and her mom was really tough on her, and she wanted to kind of get out and break out and do her own thing. She was rebellious. She ended up having her first child at a very young age. She had her second child and then her third and fourth child, also pretty young, doing it by herself. And these were from different fathers. And of all the 3 fathers that she had her kids from, because 2 were a set of twins, that's me and my sister, she didn't have any help. She didn't have any real permanency from any of the fathers who got her pregnant and had kids with her. She had a little bit of help from the father of her first child, but the other 2 fathers involved didn't really give her any financial support at all. Now, I am a fatherless son and grew up in a fatherless home, and all of this is depicted in my book, Echoes of a Fatherless Son, the origin and foundation of this channel. So if you haven't had a chance to read the book, grab a copy. The link is in the description. Go ahead and pick up a copy and read it and understand all of the details of how I grew up. I go into much great detail in the book. But my mother was on her own when it came to raising her 4 kids. She had boyfriends come in and out of her life, but no one stayed really permanently until later on when I was much more older. She had a boyfriend who she lived with and stayed with for the long term until she passed away. And my mother battled opioid addiction and she had mobility issues as well. She did her best to raise the 4 kids since the fathers were not in the picture. I was the youngest boy. My twin sister is the youngest of us 4. And I watched how she struggled to provide for us. At times, she really could not provide for us at all. We would move from house to house and from friends to friends. And we still was able to stick together as a family. She sometimes could not be with us. She would have to live elsewhere for a variety of reasons. And those reasons are spelled out in my book, Echoes of a Fatherless Son. So like I said, check it out if you have a chance to. As I got older, I wanted to break away from the cycle of poverty. I wanted to learn about finances, and I wanted to learn about how money worked and why some people had it and others did not. So let's not skip the part where I like to go over people's net worth and whenever I highlight a fatherless and famous person, and I won't take the easy way out and not talk about this one here. I'm still building my wealth, but in 2025, I was able to cross the $1 million net worth mark. And I'm still working on getting my ultimate goal, which is to become a multi-millionaire. And how I don't know, my target might be $15 million or so. And we'll see whenever I hit that milestone, because one thing I've learned is when you hit one target, you create a new target. You should never just be satisfied and stay still. Always move forward. When you hit a goal, create a new goal. When you hit that goal, create a new one again. Just keep creating goals and keep moving forward, because once you stand still, you die. Thank you all for joining. If you have not subscribed already, please do so. Like this video or leave comments on what you think about this episode, and share your stories as well if you want to share your story about how you grew up in a fatherless household. Thanks, and until next time, see you later.